A dream where you wondered. Let's say, for example, you saw your teeth falling, or let's say that you dreamt actually that you had one tooth falling out. I'll be explaining that. Do not forget to like and to subscribe. Someone sent me this dream. It was during this year, middle of this year. It's a losing teeth dream. It says one of my lower jaw teeth fell out as I sat with a few people and my wife. I panicked. I spat it out. No one saw that. I had a tooth that fell out as they talked. This is still a dream. I ran to the mirror and saw the gap, but it was not only the gap that was there, but the gap also had a black tooth that was still growing under the one that fell out. I called my wife to show this to her. I cannot remember her reaction, but I remember she asked what was happening. I showed her the tooth that fell out, plus the one that was still growing. I then slammed my head hard on a table. It wasn't painful, but the black tooth broke into pieces. I spat it out as well. I've actually interpreted this dream to the brother, but it's important that I give you an example of what such a dream meant. So this brother, after these are notes actually from my book Hearing God's Voice in Dreams. I will attach it to the description link, where to the description section, so that you can actually get it and understand it. So the brother gave me a context of this. He says, in my early days of marriage, I had countless dreams of losing my teeth. Sometimes they would be so intense that they happen night and night. A few days before I married, I had the same dream while living alone. They made me wake up in a panic and only realize later that they were just dreams. So dreams can mean a lot in our lives. Many of you who has actually been following will understand that. Do actually go back and look at the videos where I was explaining dreams. So the brother speaks of the lower jaw, and he says with the lower jaw he was sitting with his wife, and then he says actually that if he had a tooth that fell out as they talked. So this is what God is actually showing the brother. Tooth actually means your ability to your sharpened your sharpened edge when it comes to intellectuality. Teeth can actually mean your strength when it comes to meditating, and your ability to process your thinking processes. That's what a tooth can mean, because this we chow using our teeth. So it's actually impossible. It's important for you every time whenever you want to interpret a dream, you look at the function of the thing. We chow using our teeth, especially speaking about the jaw teeth. These ones are, we know what they can break bones. So it means what it does hard processing. So he says that actually the teeth fell out whilst he was sitting with other people and his wife. So this God is revealing to say that you will actually come in a space where you realize that your abilities to process, the person's abilities to process actually lack. He always says this when actually is around people and with his wife. And then God is saying, but you realize what the people are not seeing it. You are the only one who's seeing it. Because it says he's the only one who saw the gap, but they could not see it. And then he says a black tooth began to actually pop out in the place of the tooth that came out. So God is showing him to say the reason of why such things happen, you need to actually be on the lookout for. It's a dangerous, it can be a doctrine, or it can be a new belief system that is beginning to arise, or a thought process that is actually negative instead of the positive one. So God is saying be on the lookout for the negative doctrine or belief system that is actually arising in a place of a doctrinal belief that you actually previously had, which was all right. So he says, I called my wife to show this to her. I cannot remember her reaction, but I remember that she asked what was happening. So the wife actually is able to actually see the gap as well. And then he says, Uguti, I show you the two that fell out plus the one that was still growing. So God is showing her, Uguti, actually, you remember the one that is still growing, the black one, the belief system that is wrong, or a doctrinal problem. And he says then, the brother says, where's this place? Okay. He says that I ran to the mirror and I saw the gap. I ran to the mirror and saw the gap, but it was not only the gap that was there, but the gap also had a black tooth that was still growing under the one that fell out. Now, what is the one thing that began to show him that it was a black tooth? He didn't see it. You didn't see it at the time when he was still sitting with them. You only saw a tooth coming out. So he says that we ran to the mirror. What does the Bible tell us? What is the mirror? The book of James tells us that a mirror is the word of God. So God is showing him that actually every time you're in the word of God, you'd actually realize it's my word that was able to point out that actually you began to lose out something, a right approach in processing, and then a new black dark belief began to sprout out. It's my word that began to show you this lack and show you this gap. So it's the word of God that began to show him this. So he says that, I then slammed my head hard on a table. It wasn't painful. So you know what literally, if you'd slam your head hard on a table, it would be painful. But then to show that it's not actually talking about the real head and it's not talking about the real table, but God is actually showing him that you need to actually prepare yourself to actually reinstate your leadership. When you begin to exert your leadership, that's when this thing will be fixed. So in leadership, it might be in terms of his marriage, and it might be in terms of his relationships around him. So God is showing him to say with it, it's gonna need you to actually exert so much influence over it. And then he says then, but it wasn't painful. So God is showing him your leadership will be able to bring you back to the right place. And the word of God, since it opened the it showed you the gap. But the black tooth broke into pieces. So it was him when he exerted so much strength and of his hate leadership, that he actually began to break it into pieces and he spat it out. So and then he tells me which he had these dreams before he got married, each night after night. So you realize which this is not a necessity to say God is showing him to say you actually chose the wrong partner. No, but God was actually saying which you're doing good. It's not a matter of a right or wrong partner. The partner is not challenging this, but it has to do with actually his approach of leadership. To say God is actually challenging to say you could do better in terms of leadership. So this is what the dream is about. I hope that this will give an example and also help you in your dreams. Do not forget, my book is on the description section. Do not forget to like and to subscribe. And thank you to the ones that have actually been sharing our videos. We can see on the analytics. Thank you so much. It's people like you that make a difference with us. May God continuously bless you.